Joining me, a man who has been pushing this credit since the beginning, Senator Michael Bennet. Senator, thank you for joining me on this really important day. You know very well that rising prices are a huge issue in this country, and families have been receiving, on average, $430 a month from this tax credit. When it goes away, how are they going to handle it? Inflation's an issue.
It's going to be really hard for families, Stephanie, because we've lived in an economy for 50 years that's worked really well for the top 10%, hasn't worked for anybody else. People are using this tax credit to pay for rent, to pay for groceries, to buy school clothes for their kids, to pay for extracurricular activities for their children as well. And if this goes away in January, they're not going to be able to do any of that. And on top of it, inflation is cutting away at families' purchasing power.
Well, right now, it's not an if it goes away in January. It's going to. Build Back Better is stuck in limbo. Your colleague, Joe Manchin, wants to narrow how many people are getting it before expanding the child tax credit. Would you be open to that? He wants to revisit it, saying some people don't need the money.
I think that it would be a huge mistake to stop the child tax credit. 61 million kids are benefiting from it. We've cut childhood poverty in this country almost in half as a result. And as you just said, we've cut hunger in the United States by 25%. Somehow this place where I work here doesn't have any problem extending tax cuts for rich people all the time. But all of a sudden, we've finally done something for working people and for lower income people. And it's much harder to do. So I obviously have to, in part, convince Joe Manchin, who hates the child tax credit. He said that. We said, look, let's just do it for a year, Joe, so we can have the opportunity to convince you that this is actually a pro-work strategy, not an anti-work strategy, which it is. I talked to mom after mom after mom in Colorado who's told me that they're using the money to pay for daycare so they can actually work. And that's what the people aren't lazy in this country. They just need a little bit of help.
Then is the next move to make this an urgent standalone bill? As I said, Build Back Better is kind of in limbo here, and we both know, for whatever reason, Joe Biden's poll numbers are dropping. And one of those reasons is because of inflation. Do you need to take this bill on its own to not just help the country, but also to help Biden?
Look, I would much rather pass Build Back Better. That's what we should be doing. We've had months and months and months to negotiate that bill in the Senate, and the time has come for us to do it. There are important things in there, like capping drug prescription costs for seniors at $2,000, capping preschool costs for parents at 7%. But if we are going to delay it beyond when the next tax credit is supposed to come out, which is in January, we're going to have to consider other options.
So what's the likelihood Build Back Better gets passed? I keep hearing you say should, I keep hearing you say want, but let's get real.
Well, look, we should pass it. There's no reason to delay, Stephanie, so I'm not going to stand here and say it's not going to happen. I think we should get it done by Christmas, and I think we should give families the certainty that we're willing to give the folks around this place that we've given tax cut after tax cut after tax cut. Stephanie, you know these numbers better than anybody else, but since 2001, we have cut taxes in this country by $8 trillion. Almost all of that has gone to the wealthiest people in the United States. And here we have an instance where finally we're doing something for working people. We got to give them the certainty of making this tax credit, extending it into the next year, and I believe make it permanent.
I do know those numbers, and I am forever confounded by the fact that we kept carried interest in our tax code. You can write off 100% of the value of a private corporate jet, yet we can't seem to extend the child tax credit. I don't get it, Senator, but thank you for joining me this morning. I sincerely appreciate it.